Connected, connect boldly. Connect boldly. Connect boldly. Activate your power. Be unstoppable. Time to win big and hear great stories of unstoppable success. Success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of Unstoppable Success. This is a podcast where we hear from amazing, influential people, industry professionals. They get to share their insights, their tips on being unstoppable. I am your host, Jaclyn Strominger, and today I get to introduce you to somebody I absolutely adore, Terry Yoffe. Let me tell you a little bit about Terry. First of all, she's so freaking amazing, but you guys will all understand that in a minute. But she is a three-time certified international business and communications coach. She has been coaching for over 20 years. She has spent years in both corporate and entrepreneurial roles. Say that 10 times fast. With 60 years of wisdom. Yes, 60, because she is amazing. She's a wealth of wisdom. She's got business savvy life experiences. She has learned how to face challenges and change head on through resilience, persistence, and perseverance. She has learned how to meet failure with courage and discipline by uncovering her own inner strength and power. Each day, she continues to do the work required to grow, transform, and become the best version of herself. She is committed and she's a incredibly successful coach. She has helped hundreds break through what's holding them back and build the mindset that drives success, whether it's with corporate or entrepreneurial areas. And her coaching includes those who want to embrace ageism, reinvent themselves with each career pivot, as well as helping her clients learn the secrets of mastering life and creating the changes they want to achieve. Terry, welcome to Unstoppable Success. You are unstoppable. Okay, so listeners, first you have to understand, and if you're hearing this, and Terry, first of all, if you're just listening, she's absolutely stunning and beautiful, and you would never, ever, ever in a million years think she is her age. So anyway, welcome to Unstoppable Success.
Thank you. Thank you. And I wore my unstoppable shirt just for you today, Jaclyn. I am really honored and grateful to be here. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh my God. So Terry, you have had a career that spans, right? And so talk us through what has helped you have and be unstoppable. Because you again would never know your age.
Right. So I think I was somebody that grew up having or feeling unloved, unworthy, undervalued. I never fit in. I always felt like a third wheel. And I say, if I were a horse in a race, probably nobody would have ever bet on me. So honestly,
I
would. And that's how I grew up. And I had a long-term relationship that ended in not getting married. I clung to the person because my greatest fear was he was going to leave me alone, and therefore it would prove I was unlovable. So I found therapy because I contemplated seeing a sharp knife in a drawer of maybe life would be better if I just took the knife out. Well, however, I did not.
Thank God.
Yes. And I committed, so commitment to 7 years of analysis 3 times a week. I think that's where I really learned commitment and discipline, that I had committed to this. knowing that I'd probably not get married during this time, that I would go through whatever, and I did. And it was one of the most difficult things I probably have ever done in my life. There was so much pain, and it was a chance to revisit my childhood, a chance to look at the masks I wore
Hmm.
and who did I want? Hi, I wanted to be, not what everyone told me I should be in my life. And with that, what I learned about myself was discipline, courage, the ability to look inside myself and pull out everything that I needed to help me get through the rest of my life, which it did. And I also found spirituality. I did a Buddhist retreat
Wow.
when, up in the San Cristobal Mountains. I slept on a bus. You go to the bathroom, there were 3 women in one bathroom. So, and here I was, a New York sophisticate that dropped everything to
Wow.
be in that space. And it changed me, and again, in so many ways.
So, how old were you when you went through this?
Probably in my late 20s, early 30s. And yeah,
So late 20s, early 30s. And so were you in the corporate world at this time too?
at that point, I was in jobs
Okay.
where
Different world, different word. So, right? Jobs
in,
versus career, right?
right. Well, I did kind of have a career in the fashion world, and that was
Okay.
where I was. I was always in the public eye. I did fashion shows. Um, I gave presentations, but I had this whole mask. I fit the part perfectly, how I looked, how I dressed. And I got fired 3 times, maybe 4, living alone and figuring out how was I going to pay my rent. So what I did is I took whatever came along that was going to pay me something to live. And in this whole space, I got to see what I was made of.
Right.
I was a survivor. I knew that. Not compassion, courage to do all of this, discipline, commitment, and everything else that I was able to pull out of me that was there, but I needed it to
Right.
survive. And my career started at 40. Everything else, as I forget who said that, Young, everything else was research up until that
Research.
point.
Right. Well, and it's, I actually want to just stop it and first of all applaud you, right? Because that's huge. But also, listeners, what Terry just said, I think is really important. Her, whether her career started at 40, it doesn't matter. Age does not matter when you have something. It does not matter. What matters is your mindset, right? If you think you're too old for something, you're too old for it. But if you say I can do anything at any age, you can do anything at any age. It doesn't matter. And I and that also, when you hear that, that's the part of that mindset for unstoppable success. In order to go from A to B, you have, and as you just said, you stopped thinking about what others wanted you to do and you want to do what you did, what you wanted.
Right.
And when you did that, like, and you realize that, what was that like for you?
I didn't really think about it at that moment.
Yeah.
So I was minding my own business. So this is where the universe comes in. And someone I know at Women's Wear at the time, the publisher, reached out to me and said, I need somebody to run a territory. Would you like to have the job? I said, that sounds lovely, but I have no sales experience. None. She said, I don't care. Your fashion. That moment changed the trajectory of my life, because if I could have said no out of fear, well, if I, it'll go, the mind will say, what are you, crazy? You'll fail. You don't want to do that. Instead, because of all my years of preparation and knowing myself,
And research.
and I said yes. That trajectory, I did 3 years there. I took a $600,000 territory to $1.4 million, and then got hired by a big media company. I spent 11 years at Condé Nast, breaking records, doing amazing things. So that one opportunity, it wasn't the opportunity, it was my saying yes, and not letting that piece of machinery called your mind run who I was. That changed everything. So I'm saying this, folks, if you have an opportunity, you don't have all the boxes ticked off, go for it. You never know what's going to happen after that.
I'm going to say that again. You don't need to have all the boxes checked to go after something. It is so important. If you just go for it. And it's so funny that you say that, because I'm thinking about a friend of mine, and amazing woman, amazing person, an attorney. She was working for a company, and she was miserable. And we had this conversation, and she said, I keep looking at all these jobs and I can't check all the boxes. And I flat out said to her, so can you check some of them? And she said, yes. And I said, then go for it. If you have the passion for something, guess what? The passion will sell you
Right.
to the business, right? Like
Right.
if you're passionate about something, that is like 90%. The other things to check the box, you can learn half that stuff.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I did, and I went on to having a brilliant sales career.
It's awesome.
And then because of my husband's persuasion, he said, go into your own business. Why do you have to work for a company? I left the golden handcuffs, the insurance, all of that to start my own rep company. So I became a hired gun in sales, and did very well because people knew me. They knew I had integrity. They trusted me, until that landscape dried up. And at that point, I had to figure out, where was I going? I did not want sales. Had no idea what I wanted. However, because I had spent so many years in analysis, I said, oh, I'm going to become a therapist. But I looked into it, and it was too much schooling for me at that point.
Yeah.
I found coaching at 60 years old. At 60, I went to become not only getting a certificate, that wasn't enough for me, I went for certification. And 62, 63, I already had 2 or 3 certifications. And I've been coaching for 22 years. I have shifted a lot, which hopefully over the years you kind of change.
Right.
And I've been doing that. And at 78, so yes, I'm 83. At 78, I started a podcast called Extraordinary Work: Conversations About Creating Change. And people said, What are you, crazy? A podcast? There are so many out there. Why would you, everyone has an opinion.
Right. Everybody has an opinion.
Right. I did not listen. My podcast is in the top 1.5% as per listen notes. And it's the same with coaching. What, you want to be a coach? You've had a great sales career. Well, what do you want to do that? Retire, go do something else. Nope. So another thing, don't listen to everybody else. Listen to your heart.
Right. It's so important. And listeners, Terry is like a wealth of wisdom when it comes to this. And it's really, unstoppable success comes from listening to your heart and knowing and following where you want to go, not where everybody else wants you to go. And you have, whether you realize it or not, you have the choice to decide how you want your life to be. It's your choice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
you can get up in the morning and you can, there's lots of different ways and choices that you can make. But a lot of it also, I'm pointing to my head for those of you that are listening. Your head, your mind
Right.
tells you so much and dictates so much of your of what is going on. You can tell yourself, wake up in the morning in a bad mood and say, "Oh my God, it's going to be a crappy day," or you can say, "Guess what? I may have a headache. I'm going to take some Tylenol or Advil or Motrin or whatever
Mm-hmm.
your preference is, and it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day." Wake up every morning and tell yourself it's going to be an awesome day.
Right. That's a mindset. And we make a choice. And as I tell my clients, with every choice, there's a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Every choice you make, there's a consequence. And you have to figure out for yourself what you want those consequences to be based on the choices you make.
Right. It's so true. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking about, I did just eat a piece of cake. I'm like, that was a choice.
Oh, okay.
Is that going to my hips? Just kidding. Just, but everything that we do is a choice, and you decide. You have the choice to decide how you want to be, how you want to show up. And I love the fact that, somebody asked you, for that first opportunity that came your way for Women's Wear from Women's Wear Daily. By the way, it's like I love it because it's like,
It was, yes.
such a great publication. Anyway, to be able to have that and to be able to say yes and to really have like listeners opportunities, if it aligns with where you want to go, take the step. Everything happens, growth happens outside of our comfort zone. So if there's an opportunity that is coming your way and you have the butterflies in your stomach, the fear, see if the fear is because you're afraid that you can't do it, or is the fear because it's not, or is it uncomfortable because it's not aligned with where you are. If you're out of alignment with it, then it's not the right thing. But if it is in alignment and you're like, "Oh my God, I would like love it if I could do that, that would be great." Do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is that. So Terry, as I'm sure it wasn't like a smooth ride to learn sales. So how did you get through that part too? Because that's, people are like, "Oh my God, sales," and you grew that, you basically uh doubled the territory. Yeah.
It was uncomfortable, but I had gotten to a place where, okay, I was comfortable most of the time with myself. And I think what I've learned is people like doing business with me,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big part. They trusted me. I had integrity. I didn't try to screw anybody over. And sometimes when a platform, a new platform becomes available, it could be telling us this is the right place for you. You've got it in you. You just have to get on that platform or stage and make it happen. Who knew?
Right.
It was there. I was very, very good at what I did.
Did you ask for help, or how did you get good at sales?
I fumfered. Um, so I had a territory.
Yeah.
I don't even know if anyone went with me. I just muffed my way through it. You know, I knew the publication, and I had the New England territory. I became very entrenched in the territory, in what was going on. I got to know my clients, and I was genuine. Although I wouldn't have used that word at the time,
Right.
I was authentic. And I don't know, it just worked.
You know what, you said two things that I think are also that are really, really important for people to note. Two things. Number one is you knew the product, right? And you believed in it, right? So there was belief in the product. If you believe in something, so you have to, belief, unstoppable success comes from belief. You have to believe in yourself. You have to
Right.
believe in what you're doing. That's number one. Number two is you just said you got to know your clients, and that is building relationships. And that is to get to know the clients and what their needs are, or getting to know them so that you're talking about, you probably knew the names of their kids, their husband, their cats, their dogs, whatever, where they like to go on vacation. And those things build relationships. And as you said, people liked to do business with you because they liked you. And I feel like this is like one of those things that I feel like I say a lot, which is people do business what they know, who they know, like, and believe. And people can believe you because you are investing in them.
Right. So it's called what I call consultative selling. So
Yep.
you put your arm around them. Okay, what can we do together to help you? Even at Condé Nast, I never tried to lie. I never tried, if somebody had a small ad, I didn't go and say, oh, you should be doing bigger ads. You should be doing this. I met them where they were and built a relationship with them over time. And that was something I've learned so much about myself
Hmm.
in working in the two sales areas that I worked in. Two very different. One was a daily, and at Condé Nast is a multimedia company.
Conglomerate, right? I mean, it's huge. Condé Nast is ginormous, and
So,
lots of different opportunities. But something that you just said too, it's meeting people where they are, right? And not being the person to always, it's meeting somebody where they are and not being the person that's trying to always up somebody, because people can feel that energy.
oh, right, exactly, exactly. They know, they know when you're a snake oil salesperson
Right.
or you are a real, genuine individual who's there to work with them and help them and guide them. So it was, I think, a very worthwhile and certainly lessons to be learned. A
Mhm.
lot of lessons. a lot of hoops to go through.
It's interesting. I think it's one of the things today that I would say listeners like that. It's so important to not necessarily, you learned how to do sales on your own, right? That was something because as you said, it was, you had the need it was that desire to, you had to fend for yourself, right? So learn, right? Figure it out. Uh, and sometimes I feel like today, and I'm curious about your opinion on this, you know, do you see that more people want to be spoon-fed versus do things on their own?
You mean the working environment? I think the sales industry has changed radically. I
Mm.
haven't been in it for a long time, but it's so different. And I'm glad I am out of that part of the selling. But I think what people don't realize, we are selling ourselves every single day, no matter where we go, to a grocery store. In my building, I go places and my husband says, how do they know you? On the street. He looks at me like, what are you, the mayor of our area? But
Yes.
that's not true. But it's people remember people that are kind,
Hmm.
people that are genuine, authentic. And people only think, oh, they're selling themselves when they go into a meeting or they do this. But every person you meet, you're selling yourself on who you are, on what you are. And I don't think
It's
people really see that on a different level, if you
right.
will.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I think it's an important thing to 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 really think about as you are growing a business or as you are in a position. And I'll share this, you know, you are always selling yourself. And, Andy Warhol said you've got 15 seconds to make a first impression, right? So, and you do. I don't, you've got 15 seconds. Maybe it's even less today, right?
Right.
Maybe it's 5 seconds. But think about how you show up. Now, it matters. And that selling yourself, it's your brand. You are a brand. Every single person is a brand. Whether you like it or not, you walk into a room, your name is a brand. How do you want people to remember you and think of
Right.
you? I listened to a lot of books, and right now I'm listening to Jack Canfield's, you know, the Success Secrets or what Success Principles. Um, and the very thing that was in my ear this morning was the three different people all had jobs at a bank, tellers. Two would wear, a regular shirt, maybe a tie, maybe not. One always wore a jacket, a shirt, and a tie. And, you know, over a year, the guy that was wearing the jacket and the shirt ended up getting his own desk as an assistant loan officer. Then he became the loan officer, and then he became the branch manager. And in the book, Jax basically said to him, "So congratulations, I see you got promoted." And he said, "Talk to me about the promotion." And one of the things that he said is that I researched what a branch manager did. I researched how a branch manager interacted with the clients. I researched how a branch manager showed up for work every day. What did they wear? What did they do? And from day one, I knew I wanted to be a branch manager. I wanted to keep going. And so I made it as if every day I was a branch manager,
Right.
right?
Right.
It wasn't that he didn't think about becoming. He said, I'm going to act. And that goes back to
Right.
what we said, like it's partly your mindset. Put
Right.
yourself in that right mindset, right?
Right.
It's
Exactly.
it's so important.
Exactly. Um, and I love that he he already was the branch manager from the moment he put that jacket and tie on.
Right.
He already was the branch manager.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about coaching. I mean, so you flip the switch, you go from sales, you're going, great that you've got like awesome certifications because not every coach does that. Um, so how was that transition for you? Because, some people talk about transitions and they're like, oh, some people transitions are easy.
Um, Not easy at all. Not at all. First of all, I was older. Um, Going for a certificate was a whole program, and interacting with people and talking to them, I had much more of a therapy mindset, which is not coaching, but kissing cousin.
Right. No, it's right. It's a kissing cousin to it. It's not coach. I mean, coaching is not therapy.
Right. So it was a little difficult for me to shift my mindset from what I knew and what I did to the coaching. So I got my certificate, and then I think 6 months later, I went for certification. And they sent me the book for certification. It was a 6 month program. The book was this thick. I put it down. I went into my bed and I cried. I said, am I crazy? It was like a telephone book. I said, no. I was overwhelmed. And then on the front of the book, I found a picture of someone skiing off a mountain. And it said, I wrote, I can do this. And I said, all I have to do is take it chapter by chapter. That's it. And I did. And it was not an easy program. Because remember, I was older. It wasn't easy. We had coaches that were listening to us as we went through the program. And at the end, we had to coach two trainers. And I remember sitting in my bedroom with my blanket that I had gotten, somebody gave me from my Buddhist retreat, had my Buddhist sitting in front of me, and I sent my little girl out. No child, nobody to distract me or to make me fail. And I sat there and I said, okay, I am nervous, write out. And I coached two people. And then you wait for the results.
I
They
I
don't
know
give
that
a
feeling.
damn.
It's like, oh.
I remember I was in California with my two grandchildren on the street, and my husband called me and he said, you passed. And my two grandchildren, I thought they were going to fall over. They turned
Oh,
around. What happened? I was screaming. so loud. It was a very difficult certification to go through.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. And then I went on for two certificates from the International Coach Federation to my PCC.
Yeah.
So yes, it's difficult, but what I find, I have spent my whole life doing difficult things. To me, it's like, oh, okay. But I know there are many people that want results, but don't want to do the work. They want what they want, but they don't want to do the work to get to where they want to go. And I think part of coaching in the beginning was, oh, aren't you going to get, like I said to my therapist, because he never talked. He was a Freudian therapist. I said to him, aren't you ever going to tell me what to do? And he looked at me and he said, yes, I can tell you what to do, but the next time you won't know what to do. At that moment, I realized no one was coming to help me or save me. I had to do the work. Nobody else. I had to be responsible. And if people want to figure out what's holding them back, where that missing piece is, they're out of alignment, they have to do the work by figuring out what's the fear that's holding them back.
Right.
And that is not easy.
No, that's true. That is not easy. It is really not easy at all. So Terry, I could talk to you for hours about this.
Yes.
How can people learn more about you? Because you offer so many great things, and there's so much wisdom and there's so many great things that you can share and help people through. So what is the best way for people to connect with you, learn more about you, and all the things and all the great things that you do?
They can certainly go to my website, which is Try, which is my initials, trycoaching.com. And they can learn all about me and my speaking and my coaching and my podcast. They can listen to it, or they can definitely send me an email, terry@trycoaching.com. I'd be very happy to have a conversation. And if they're interested, see if there's a fit.
That's fantastic. All right, listeners, please do me the favor. Go to Terry's website and connect with her because she is absolutely gold. She is such an amazing person, and I am so I'm grateful and blessed that I can call her friend and that I've gotten to know her and we get to know each other more and more. So please do me the favor, go and connect with Terry, and then please do me the favor and share this episode with a friend, a colleague, a business associate, because you know what? There are going to be nuggets in here that people that need to hear this message. So share the episode. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. And lastly, head over, if you want more unstoppable success, head to our school community and you'll get great wisdom, insights, and we have power hours and we have masterminds, great things that are happening for people that are involved in the Unstoppable Success community on school. Thank you, Terry, for being an amazing guest.
Thank you so much. Thank
you. And listeners, thank you so much for listening. This is the Unstoppable Success Podcast. I'm your host, Jaclyn Strominger, and we are hoping that you have unstoppable success so that you can leap to your greatest success. Here's to your unstoppable success. You've been listening to the Unstoppable Success Podcast with Jaclyn Strominger. Subscribe, share, and keep building your unstoppable life. We'll see you at the top.